Okay, welcome to the third of three town hall debates on Pocatello Vision 12. We were going to have an actual moderator, Mike Chisholm, but that kind of fell through, so we're going to have to self-moderate today. I guess first thing we should do is go for introductions. Let's go from the right.
All right. My name is Bob Croker, and I'm a independent candidate for House Seat 29A.
Okay. I'm John Bischoff. I am running for 3rd District Bannock County Commissioner. And?
I'm Idaho Lorax. I also am District 29A, but my main focus here is a cause, which, of course, saving lives. And go on from there. Thank you.
Unfortunately, since we do have a slight issue with the fact that we do not have the moderator we intended to, we're kind of stuck because he prepped everything up and we did not. So at this point, let's just go ahead and give the mic over to the right first, which would be Bob. And just freeform about a 5 or 10 minute essay about why the voters should elect you. Well, in that case, I guess it comes to me. I'm John Bischoff. I am running for 3rd District County Commission, as I mentioned. The thing I've noticed about Bannock County is the first thing you notice about Bannock County is the metal detectors. And that is basically where a county resident is treated like a criminal just to come in and vote or just to come in and pay your taxes or what have you. And it gets worse from that point. The Bannock County Commission, they claim, is the most open commission in Bannock County history, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's still a closed off smoking room, basically. If you want to deal with a Bannock County Commission, they need to have well announced, in advance, well agended meetings where pretty much anybody and their brother can just come in and say something. They need to be televised, they need to be webcast, they need to be live cast. That's the first thing, openness. We really need more openness in this county. Right now, a lot of decisions for this county are made behind closed doors. That is clearly not within the spirit of the Sunshine Law, if maybe not the letter. And that's pretty much the main thing that I would bring to the table as a Bannock County Commissioner, is I would make things open. We would have meetings where the people are not necessarily behind a metal detector. Laura?
I figured that's enough for me right now.
Well, I did notice one common thread, but it's a kind of a weak one. And that is, Lorax was talking about harassment and Bob was talking about education. And the one thing that most of us have seen in various forms is harassment in the schools, i.e. bullying. So that sounds like a common thread to start with. Okay, well, from the county perspective, the county commission is in a direct, I don't want to say a supervisory role, but in a direct responsibility role for the various school districts within the county. And so it is incumbent on the county commission to at least recognize that there is a problem and that the problem needs to be addressed by the various administrations. And if it's not being addressed by the various administrations, then the county needs to step in and either make the law that needs to be enforced or ensure that the various administrations actually do enforce the rules against bullying. And bullying in this case has got to, and I repeat, has got to include gender identity issues. Because one of the biggest schoolyard taunts is, that guy's so girlish. Okay, great. Is that bad? maybe that person is more comfortable acting a little girlish. And that's kind of one of the things is we have to include gender roles, and I don't want to say sexuality, because in school you're not supposed to be sexual, just flat out. But at the same time, it's happening now. You are getting down into the junior high level where people are making permanent bonds, and there are people that are getting bullied in junior high because they're gay, or because they don't quite meet the stereotype. That's got to be fixed, and that's got to be fixed very quickly. So equality is very important. A regard for equality is very important in a county commissioner, because it's going to literally be on the plate within the next year for the Bannock County Commission. Pocatello had their turn at bat for an equality or a non-harassment or equality ordinance, and they tabled it again, from what I've heard. And they'll probably and so if that keeps going, somebody has to step up to the plate. The next level would be the county. So that's going to be important in the next 2 to 4 years. And since I'm running for the 4-year seat, I have to keep that fully in mind. That is, bullying and harassment are not acceptable. Bullying and harassment need to be dealt with, and they need to be dealt with now. Okay. This forum was supposed to be moderated by Mike Chisholm of the Oath Keepers, who was going to probably ask us a whole lot of questions about the Constitution. Lorax did mention the Constitution a few times, so shall we just go through a little bit and talk about our favorite parts of the Constitutions, federal and state?
Well, there's a lot there.
Right. I'm sorry, but I'm trying.
That's all right.
Okay. Bob did mention the hunting and fishing amendment to the Idaho Constitution. I kind of do want to talk to that a little bit. Personally, I don't want to say I disagree with the idea. You've got the right to hunt and fish, clearly. Nobody's going to ever be taking that away from you in the state. However, any specific grant of rights in the Constitution gets into what Madison called the laundry list. And that is, if a Constitution starts being explicit as to what rights you do have, then what's not listed in the Constitution becomes a right you don't have. And Madison, when he was writing his Publius, did very specifically state that's not going to be the case. That can't be the case. And yet, here we are nowadays, everybody's talking about new rights that need to be in the Constitution. They don't. The Constitution guarantees all your rights by definition. It just makes some rights very specific. The Congress shall make no law regarding the right to keep and bear arms, for example. So that means Congress just can't step in and take that right away. But your rights your Lockean rights as a man, human, pardon my French, as a human, are very specifically anything and everything that you can do as a human. You don't need to have all your rights listed because of the fact that they're there regardless. The Constitution grants you no rights. The Constitution only recognizes rights you already have. And that is actually my favorite part of the Constitution. And it's a joke of mine that I ask people, what is the favorite right of yours granted by the Constitution? The short answer is none, because the Constitution grants you no rights. However, then we usually get into a discussion as to what they said and how it's going away, because basically every one of the Bill of Rights is being impinged on a daily basis. The right to free speech, your right to free speech only exists in this free speech zone now. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Your right to free speech exists wherever you do. Your right to keep and bear arms. Well, right now, your right to keep and bear arms stops in the county offices. There's a big sign, no guns, no knives, no whatever, in the county offices. Why? Is it because, now I can understand, let's not have guns and knives in the courtroom. Or maybe, or at least let's make sure that they're safe and locked away. But at the same time, why do you need to be told to take your Leatherman and put it in a cubbyhole to go vote, or to go to the clerk's office, to go register a deed, to pay your taxes, to do all the normal stuff you do in a county? Yeah, that doesn't need to happen. In fact, you're being treated as a criminal. And if we go back to the bullying, you've seen this going on in other locations where people are literally walking through metal detectors to go to school. Century High School is a very good example of this. Century High School was actually originally built as a prison, but it didn't work out so well as a prison, so they donated it to District 25 as a school. So you end up with children that go into this building that looks like a prison, because at one point that's what its idea was. They changed it enough to make it into a schoolhouse, of course. And then if there's any additional stuff on there that makes them feel like a criminal, well, you keep treating somebody like a criminal, eventually they're going to get we have a call. Hi, welcome to the Town Hall Forum. What is your question?
Well, I don't really have a question. I just want to correct something that you just stated.
Oh, okay.
Century High School was not designed as a prison. Century High School was designed from the ground up as a school. The blueprints were taken from, they were purchased from a firm in Utah that builds schools. And if you go look throughout Utah, you'll find many schools virtually identical to Century High School, because essentially they sold a set of pre-built plans to the school district.
Okay. The plans
are entirely a myth that it was intended to be a prison, or that the blueprints were originally a prison.
Okay. I stand corrected on that. I do apologize, sir. Okay. I stand corrected on the part about it originally being a prison. The plans, I do believe at that point, the way the rumor came out was when they moved the Bannock County Jail over into that area. That was probably listed as an expansion area once upon a time, way back in the early days of the whole game. But the whole point is, you shouldn't be treated like a criminal at all. And if you're not a criminal, obviously. Now, when it gets to the probation issue, speaking of criminals, is another thing. The probation issue, the reason I don't like it is it puts too much onto the county without really giving the county any help in the process. As in, the county has to now set up its own board of probation and everything else, but at the same time, they still really don't have all the. With a responsibility usually should come authority, and I don't see it in there, to be honest. And that's kind of why I don't like it. But at the same time, I don't see any real reason that the probation issue shouldn't go on the ballot, and the counties just have to deal with it, and we'll deal with it. If I'm elected, I'm going to deal with it one way or the other. That's just the way you have to do it. All right? Well, it does look like we've got about time. Oh.
Time for one question?
Yes, from the audience, please.
I'm Annika Jordan. I'm from the Idaho State Journal, and you said you were running for County Commissioner seat 3.
That is correct.
Can you tell us who's your opponent in that race, and what would separate you and your issues, your opinions from that opponent?
my opponents in this particular race are Marla Vick and Howard Manwaring. And it really boils down to the best way to describe the way that separates us is a bit of style issue. And that is, at one of the various forums that we've been at, both Marla Vick and Howard Manwaring mentioned their massive management experience. I don't bring management experience to the table. I bring leadership, and that is a difference. You hire managers. You elect leaders. I will not micromanage, and there's a nice way to deal with this. I've never heard of a micro leader. I've never heard of, what was the other? Either way. But it boils down to, you can micromanage somebody till they're blue in the face. You can never micro lead, because a leader knows, basically just says what needs to be done and then gets out of the way. So you will end up with a lot less of the time wasted by the commission just trying to get the normal stuff of the county done, because we'll be telling the people they're supposed to do it, let's do that.
And that probably was meant for all of us as well.
Okay, well, yeah, by all means. I'm sorry. Well, we do have one more minute, so let's go ahead and turn it over to Bob, and then I'll use my minute to wrap everything up. How's that?
Okay. Well, in 1 minute, there's not a lot to be said of substance, but I would like to thank John for stepping in tonight and for taking the lead and directing us. I appreciate your effort there, and I'm glad you could do that for us in the absence of our planned moderator.
Yes, thank you, John.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for the wrap-up, what's going to happen is we are going to go ahead and rebroadcast this on Saturday. I believe it's between 3 and 4. So if you did miss part of this, go ahead and watch it on Saturday, or TiVo it on Saturday, what have you. Other than that, there will not be any further forums. We are done with forums. So the only thing left at this point is every one of us at this table would probably definitely want you to get out there on November 6th and vote your conscience. That's pretty much all we can ask for. So please, on November 6th, vote. And we all thank you.